Clone 99 Season 1 official trailer by JB Films. We're doing this critique because last time he asked for one on The Force Awakens, and that one came out a little scuffed, so I'm doing this one as fast as possible. Again, if you want one of these critiques for your own, they're on my Patreon. I get to them as soon as I can. I'm going to work on really getting to them. Maybe we could have one going on quite frequently, because I feel like everybody can learn from these things. So let's get to it. Clone 99 Season 1 official trailer by JB Films. I hear there's copyrighted music in this, so I like this. This is a really nice shot. This is actually very well done. Like, damn, I want to watch it again because it was so good. That was nice. The lighting was really good there, and I liked how the framing was really clear too. You know, really got a sense of everything that was going on.
It appears to be blueprints for some kind of clone droid hybrid.
Witness the stories. Alright, that's hard to do because you have to make them all. That's a lot of figures going on at once, and they're all like kind of doing the same thing too. So you have to, like, you get to memorize everyone that's like being placed there, which forced this legend, which forged the legend.
Don't know. Witz told the medical droid he heard a sharp ringing right before he blacked out.
Yo, I swear that's me.
It's a Beskar spear.
Sound like me.
Your
I remember that
Beskar spear.
It is time, my brothers!
I really like the storage lighting that you're doing in this one.
From the highest level possible.
It's really nice.
It will
like
rip
really
them
cool
apart from the
tone to it.
inside.
That guy just got smoked by that. Oh my.
Witz, are you okay?
I wonder what happened to him. Did he get like mind controlled or something? Like an Order 66 type of thing?
I
2 weeks
molded
later.
you, and that I'm grateful for. But the aces you knew was never real.
This June. Damn. That guy, what was that guy even doing? He didn't do anything, he just got shot. And you kind of makes an appearance.
Sorry, sir. Cannot let you in due to ongoing hostage situation.
An ongoing hostage. Yo, it's Mace Windu.
You take one more step and I'll blow this place to
Did you
hell.
know he's actually Matt from Wii Sports?
Witz, are you okay?
I like the water effect there, the rain. Pretty cool. That must be hard to do. I never tried that. I've never gone for it, but it doesn't look easy. This looks like a graveyard. Are they fighting in a graveyard? That's kind of cool. I see like rocks. They kind of like tombstones. Even Grievous.
Go! I'll buy you some time!
No! A good
Yo,
soldier
my
never
character is
leaves
not
a comrade
surviving
behind.
this.
Goodbye, 99.
Damn. Well, if this was a trailer, I wondered. That's the trailer. That's a pretty important plot point in the story. That's pretty cool though. Coming June 2022. Cool. Yeah, I heard you said that this was like a copyrighted song, but I guess now we can go into everything about it. I guess my initial impressions is I really like some of these shots here. I think this first shot is really, really well done. You know, because like here's the thing I like about it a lot. First, the way it starts off, you do really get a sense that you're being transported with these characters, because the camera's in that perfect spot where it's as if there was like, how many clone figures are here? Like there's like 8. Is that if there were 9 figures here, you'd be the 9th figure. That is your perspective. You're taking it from their perspective. You're seeing it as they're seeing it, and that's something you really want to focus on when you're trying to make battle shots or, you know, really engaging action shots. You really got to capture it from the perspective of these characters, and I think you do that really well here, because it's as if we're really in there with them. You know, you can see everything. It's also perfectly behind everybody, so when you see little details like the guy falling here, you can see that. You can really, you know, you really get a feel for it. It's interesting though. I do think maybe this laser, it looked like it hit somebody. Like if we go back, this one. Oh, that's also really cool. Like the way you did the digital effect to make it look like it had dimension, and it was traveling towards. Yeah, this definitely hits this guy, but he kind of just shrugs it off. I guess it would make a difference if like we saw a little explosion effect that, like, you know, that indicated that it just bounces right off his shoulder or something. But for the most part, it kind of just looked like nothing happened. I think you either have to commit to him like getting hit and dying or falling, or you can do like a little digital effect that makes it look like it just pinged off of his armor, you know? But I still like this because I like how you do the colors too, because you clearly shine an actual light into the set to match the kind of like, you know, blue like pulse effect. And it, like a gun, like a laser gun, I feel like it would do that. It feels natural, it feels fitting here. There's a little problem here with the focus in one of these. Yeah, here you zoom in a bit in the middle of the shot, and you don't commit to the zoom in because you zoom in for one frame, but you don't zoom in on the next, and that breaks the focus a bit. Definitely, like, you know, I think this shot is still pretty well done, but it definitely isn't perfect. You like, you know, when it comes to, I really do think little mistakes like that really can add up in a video. I think you, like, you know, one of the most important things is to make sure that your animation looks as clean as possible by keeping the camera straight, by keeping the characters following their arcs very, very closely. By arcs, I mean, like, you know, their arc of motion. Like, say this is an arc of motion. My hand is moving from this position to this position, and it has a very specific way it gets there. It doesn't get there like it gets there like that, you know. Oh, I just realized in the Discord call you can't actually see me do that, but you'll be able to see in the recording. Yeah, so like I was saying though, an arc of motion, you need to make sure all your characters follow that. You need to make sure everything kind of just looks clean. But this does, okay, so I do think like both parts, when the camera is still, it looks really good. You know, like I just think that when that one moment where it does kind of get bumped a bit, it does, you know, it brings me out. But you know, it's one of those things where you just tighten that up a bit, and it's incredible how much, like, you know, things change. You know, this shot's not bad, but I do wish it was a little bit further back is all, because it feels like we don't really get a sense of like the, I guess, the grandness of this general, like, of this hallway, right? I'm assuming we're at the end of a hallway, but I would have liked to see like a little bit further back down the corridor, because when you do that, you kind of also get to frame the characters within the door frame, and it's like a frame within a frame kind of thing that really directs the viewer's eyes exactly where they need to be, and doesn't ask too much of them, because I feel like the shot is a little bit wide, but it also isn't low enough. We don't really get to see the bottoms of their legs, so I guess it just kind of doesn't really help with immersion. I still think it's animated well though, you know, but imagine how cool it would have been if it was like further back and the character looked like it was really looking at you from a far distance, and now he's making his way over to you. I think because he's a little bit too close, it doesn't really feel like he's looking at me. It kind of feels like he's looking through me, which again doesn't, like, you know, help with immersion. I think immersion is really important. I do really like these orange lights a lot. I think they're really cool. They look nice, and especially in scenes like this with this little glow, it looks like a sunset. You know, this feels like it could be taking place on like a planet, not in space, which is nice. It really does feel like it's natural peering. I think you could also sell this effect even further if your set design had more windows in it. I'm not entirely sure what this is supposed to be though. It could be a spaceship, or it could be like a training hall. I do think you definitely should also focus on giving more details in your set. It seems like a lot of your sets are just this one black wall, and that can really make us confused where we are, because we always feel like we're in the same place, but different things are happening and different rules apply. I like this little garden area, you know. I don't really like this gray base plate as the wall. I feel like it should be a blue base plate or like a blue cloth to make it look like the sky. I just think that when people do this, it kind of makes their movies feel a little small, you know? It doesn't make them feel like huge in scale, which can really go a long way. I think scale is honestly really important. At least faking the idea of it looking big, because there are a lot of ways to fake it. It doesn't have to actually be that big. Like I said earlier, I think maybe one way you could have faked it is just by adding like a blue, like a blue curtain or something. Just make it look like it's the sky. Because like I said earlier, like here, in this shot, it really does feel like this is a far off sunset, you know, like a far off sky. And that gives a feeling of grandness. But this is also a smaller hole, which I guess is easier to fake the effect in. But you know it's possible to fake the effect. This, I'm not entirely sure what it's supposed to be. I'm guessing it's a hospital and he's in bed. But I think if you added things like, you know, like a little table here, maybe like an IV drip bag, something like that, like a little computer, and some, like, you know, some doctor iconography, like a little red cross. That could really sell the effect of it being a hospital more, or at least just put some more doctor looking people in here. But yeah, you know, just little things you can do to like spruce up the set design, really differentiate it from everything else. Cause like see now this area looks like the same area as this one, right? Except with this little black wall, but generally the entire thing is white. So feel like I'm still in the hospital area, but then this door opens and it reveals a weapon. So I'm guessing this is more like an armory. Still, you know, I guess that's also why I like longer shots. Like when I say longer, I mean like from further back, because when you have like a shot that's like far away, it's called a long shot. So I guess like when you pull the camera back a lot, because like I said, like in the Star Wars video, a lot of your shots do feel like they're from the very same level of distance. I think you explained this, but in filmmaking, it's always you gotta find a way. You know, if you can't, like, you know, if there's something that's like limiting you from, you know, getting those further back shots, you have to find a way to do it anyways. It's one of those things. Every problem has to be solved. It has to be. Yeah, because you use a tripod. Interesting. You got to find a way to you have to find a way to make that tripod work for you, because filmmaking is all about solving problems to get the best possible looking thing. I like this shot. This shot's cool because clearly this is the focus of it, but there's still a nice little background fight going. That's nice. That's a good perspective. See, that I like that because you layer the film. You have the foreground, which is this object, and then you have the background. That can go a long way in increasing the scale of your films too. It makes the world feel bigger, which is nice. It makes the frame feel bigger. Oh, it's cover. Well, it's still important. He's still dashed to it, you know. I thought it was an item. So I think with this shot, you know, the animation I think is good. Like the camera movements, they're fine. I like the recoil on these guns, and I like the way you do go for the panning shot. I do think the panning could be a little bit cleaner though. Like it just feels a little bit bumpy, you know? Like, yeah, that little tear there with the focus. You need to really ease in your focus. You can't just change it on the fly like that. I wonder if like you have to physically press a button to change the focus on the actual recording, like on the, I think you said you use an iPad. So yeah, as you can see, the rotation changes here, which is a big deal because that breaks the general flow of the arc of the camera. No, I use a point and shoot. Interesting. So you actually have to physically touch something to set up like focus rings and zoom in, I'm guessing. But when I shot this, yes, now I'm using a remote app. Okay. Yeah, you always got to use it, like, no matter what. So you shot this by actually clicking the camera. Okay, but it seems like now you use a remote lamp or a remote camera. That's very important. You never, ever want to touch the camera. You want to avoid doing that as much as possible. Like, I used to have this camcorder that I had to physically press a button to actually take a photo. Horrible for stop motion. Let me tell you, because you're always going to change it a tiny bit. You have to keep it absolutely still. It's crazy. I like this a lot. There's a little bit of a clever bit where he kind of like comes out the wall and takes him. Yoink! And he also gets yoinked. That's I like that. I like the filmography of that. Or I like the way that looked. It's very cartoonish, very zany. So, but I want to talk about the battle scene here. So, all the animations are clean, but they're really not doing anything. They're just kind of standing in a line waiting to die. You know? I mean, I get they're clones. They know they're expendable. But they could at least be marching forward in an unbreakable formation against each other. And I also think that these bullets really need to do something as well. Because they're kind of just shooting at each other, but like maybe one or two guys go down, and that's it. It needs to feel a lot like this is a war. The Star Wars, of course. But this is the only guy that really got out of Dodge. Why is he the only guy that cares about his life? I mean, these guys in the back aren't moving either. It seems they gotta be all of them gotta be moving all at once, because remember, they're all in this war together. They all gotta do everything. He's the main character. That makes sense. Main character plot armor. Every main character has it. Still though, I think these guys either gotta start dying or they gotta start marching forward, but they can't just be standing still shooting at each other and nothing, and like, you know, because then that's not really a fight. That's just, well, really, what is that? It's like if that happened in real life. It's just mutually assured destruction. But they're missing each other. This all looks fine. They get disguises, it seems. I like the way this character looks. Two weeks later. This is fun. That's the Star Destroyer. I like that transition. Okay. So I'm guessing you use keyframes for this PNG, right? Yeah, it goes there smoothly. That's because it follows one linear course of line. It follows one line of action, and it never strays from it. And I think that's like the real key to like, you know, making sure every single one of your movements do that. This is meant to be watched with audio.
I mourned you, and that I'm grateful for. But the aces you.
So this shot, I think it's kind of strange that he's so far off to the side here. You see how like it's not even? He's so to the edge of the frame that his backpack actually clips out. And this guy has the entire first half of the frame, it feels like. I feel like it should be much more even. You know, put them both about 2/3 of the frame, or 2/3 away from the edge. Not really. Yeah. You know, this guy could be maybe where this black bar here is. And this guy could be maybe where the edge of this column is. And that will make the frame feel a lot more centered, a lot more controlled, and a lot more cinematic, I think.
Was never
It seems like it's an important conversation too. This June. I like these title cards. I like the Star Wars font. You know, it's nice. This is hilarious to me. It's just because, like, in the trailer itself, just out of nowhere, boom! Just, let's see how that's animated. Now, this seems pretty nice from what I can see. Ooh, yeah, that's nice. I guess the only unfortunate thing is the blue laser. I actually did not notice that watching because it's way too close to the actual orange light from the photo that it just blends in. It camouflages. You gotta find a way to make it more distinct by... I would have the outline of the laser, the blue outline of the laser, be much darker blue. It's way too light. I can tell it's blue, but it's a very light blue. And once this hits him, he needs to have like an explosion on him or something. Boom. But I do think it's animated nicely. You see this? That huge jump in frames? Whenever a character gets hit by anything, they will always have a huge jump in frames. That's how you really sell that. Bam! That shit hit me. I'm sorry for swearing. But you know, it's like instant. You want to have a large gap in between the frame that he gets hit on and him recoiling away from it. And then it's still large gaps because he travels quickly. He just got shot in the head. Of course he's gonna freaking get launched back a billion feet. And then I like the way you also kind of like have him smoothly leave the frame. You see how the increments get less and less as it goes on? It starts off like a big jump, another big jump. This time it's a smaller jump, an even smaller jump than the last one, and an even smaller jump than the last one. That's easing out. That's what makes it look so clean. I haven't even talked about the actual gunshot yet, because that's good too. Boom. I think one way you could sell this effect a little bit further, is around this frame, you got to get him in the air. I think he got shot in the head. His entire body, think of it like this. Whoops. He gets shot in the head. His entire body is gonna rotate, and it's gonna rotate off of the ground. You gotta put him in the air and have him really commit to that, going from this to this, because he's gonna land on his side. Because here, yeah, you stop rotating him completely. He kind of just slides away. You gotta really make sure you're not cutting corners with these kinds of like movements, because that's like the make or break difference. But I like how you see how I love this draw. It's so quick. It's like instant, right? You see the difference. You have this shot. It's down. This is the one that a lot of people seem to forget. But this is like this gun is in position to the framing. That's our introductory frame. It always has to be just a tiny bit in frame. About this much is good. But the next frame after the introduction frame, that's the actual pose we're going to see it in. As in, this is where it's going to be, in this general area. Because right after this one, you smooth into it. You see how this is a huge jump. And this is a much smaller jump. And now that's just like, you settle it into frame around here. You settle it. And that is why when he kind of locks in and takes the shot here, it feels so natural and so right. Pew! Okay, all right. So, and then here, I like this a lot too, because right after the gunshot, the recoil shot is also very high. there's a real sense of like momentum and power with the gunshot. And then, yeah, you know, I think this is fine. You put it back down. You know, you have a small frame going up. I'd probably add one more frame of it just going a tiny bit up and then just slowly descending into this frame, which is still good though, the way you did it. Yeah, and then you kind of just have it slowly lower. I think I'd probably lower it one more frame, just a tiny bit, just to get that nice little settle, you know. But yeah, let's watch it again. Oh, he retracts arm. I guess the little green sticky tack here, still a little bit distracting. I don't know if it's Play-Doh, because I know, or not Play-Doh. I don't know if it's clay, because clay is not as sticky. But sticky tack, I said this back in the Star Wars video, but this changed my life. Not gonna lie. The UHU Patafix. I don't know why, but it's just very sticky. Stickier than any clay I've ever known. So, with this animation here, his gun goes down, then goes back up. It goes down, then up. But then it goes back down. And now it keeps going down into his arms. But then it actually stops. Yeah, you see, you set up the rotation, but you stop the rotation right here, and then you continue it again here. That really can disrupt the flow of animation. Yeah, that does not look as smooth as the gunshot actually does. And that's because, again, this is what we mean by following the arc. Because here, if you were to go down here, you'd have to put the next gun piece around here. But it goes all the way up here. You see how this moves down? And then up? And then down again. That makes like a zigzag pattern. And that kind of just looks wonky. Especially when you compare it to the fact that you also have it in the same position for an extra amount of frames, which also disrupts the flow of animation. Just got to make sure all those things are cleaned up. Make sure you follow the right rotation. Make sure it doesn't change going down to up to down again. If it goes down for the first frame, it has to go down for every other frame. And only in like that general direction. Now I wonder what this is about. He kind of just jumps. He kind of just floats. I'm not entirely sure what you want to go for here, but he looks very like he's just being moved. And he's not really moving either. Like, his arms aren't moving. It kind of just looks like he's being replaced. I wonder what he's supposed to do here.
Sorry, sir. Cannot let you in due to ongoing hostage situation.
You take one more step and I'll blow this place to hell.
Situation. Let you in due to... Sorry, sir. Cannot let you in due to...
I guess I'm just, whenever I see this in animations, it's just if a character is talking, I feel like he should be acting, which means he should be moving. But they kind of just stand
ongoing
still.
hostage.
I think standing still is probably, it's one of those things where people see the lack of motion, and it's a lot easier to lose them when that happens. You want to make sure things are really always moving, because that's what keeps life in the animation.
Situation.
You take one more step and I'll blow this place to hell.
So I do like this little walk cycle here. I guess I just wish, I think I talked about this earlier in your last in the last critique.
Take one more step.
But he does this thing where he goes one direction,
You take one more step.
and then he stops to turn around, and then goes the other direction. It's like do 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 do. But realistically, he should be always walking and then curving. He should be curving, not standing and then pivoting. He should be curving while he's walking, and you could use sticky tack to achieve this. But like, you want to have him like diagonal, you know, for one frame when he's walking, in the middle of his walk, and that's how you like, you know, smoothly change directions with a minifigure walk cycle.
Blow this place to hell.
Wits, are you okay?
I still like this scene. The water's cool, but there's no real like water that we see dripping down, and it also doesn't look like it's on. Oh no, it is on all of them. Cool. But I guess, you know, like you could add like a visual effect here, right? You could add like a special effect of just some rain falling, like an overlay. Yeah, I still think these guys should be moving a bit more. But they're clones. I get that's what they do. They die. I don't know, because I feel like that's also part of the lore. But I guess when it comes to this, maybe you can also have like the camera angle change too. You do have a lot of these very heavy side shots like this. A lot of your shots are from the side, and that's good because it really does highlight their outline really well. But it can also be detrimental if you use a lot of them, because sometimes you want a 3/4 shot. This is a 3/4 shot where you can see 3/4 of my face. This is one side of my face. It's like 2D, and this is full frontal. Sometimes you want to go with the 3/4 view, because that just makes more cinematic. It helps with diversity in your shots, and it would look cool because like you could have like a low angle shot right behind the rock, and the frame kind of builds it up because all you can see is the top of the stormtrooper's head or clone trooper's head shooting at somebody, but you don't really see his whole body, just the vulnerable area. Similarly, it puts you in the same position as whoever he's shooting at, because that's all they can see. Still not bad, not bad with the animation. The animation's fine. Just like, like the little things you could clean up, like the smoothing of the arc and easing in and out and making sure things kind of just stay on their path.
Go! I'll buy you some time!
No! A good soldier never leaves a comrade behind.
It's very kind of General Grievous to kind of sit back and let this whole conversation play out. I think it would be more effective if he actually was already fighting General Grievous and be like, go! I'll buy you some time, while General Grievous was kicking his ass. I think that would be cinematically and thematically appropriate, because it makes them saying goodbye so much harder, because this other guy is his last thing that he sees of his friend is him getting his ass beat by General Grievous, and he's not going to survive that. But like here it just kind of seems like, Grievous is being polite, waiting. It kind of seems out of character.
A good soldier
gotta keep the action high, even in the dramatic moments.
never leaves a comrade behind.
Goodbye, 99.
I do like that though. I do like the way the piece covers the camera, so that way we actually it does put us into their perspective, because now we're immediately put into the opposite guy's perspective.
Leaves a comrade behind.
First, we're looking at it from the black and blue clone trooper.
Goodbye, 99.
We're looking at it from his eyes, and now we switch to the red and white eyes. It's nice, it's cool. It's immersive. But yeah, I guess that's my real deep dive into this one. I hope the things I said made sense. I'm about to upload this right now, so if you want to watch it later, then feel free to. But yeah, thank you all very much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you next time.